Morning, this is Brian. Today is Wednesday, August 6, 2025, and I'm here near the San Marcos and Carlsbad areas, near San Marcos, Carlsbad Vista, and I'm parked on Calle Corte Romero, right off of Camino Junipero. And my plan is to hike up Denk Mountain. Pretty well known peak here in the Rancho La Costa Habitat Conservation Area. So I'm going to go ahead and make a hike up this today, up to Denk Mountain. Yeah, I'm getting an early start because we're starting on our next heat wave. So I'm out here early on trying to get some enjoyment today. Right off the bat, yeah, white alder tree right here at the trailhead. Native white alder. Alright, so let's see. A bunch of different trails around here, a bunch of different ones that switch back and some that just go straight up, so we'll see how this works today. Getting a nice early start, that's all I know. My hiking map might be a little convoluted because there are so many trails through this area, so bear with me. There are many different ways up to the top of Denk Mountain. So you could pretty much pick your own route. So basically, you pick up this trail. There are probably other entrances. I just picked mine up right off of, again, it's right on Corte Romero. And let's see. I think we're going to get some good views today. So I think we're in the general Carlsbad vicinity, I believe. You can see the ocean off over that way. Pick something a little bit more coastal and early to beat the heat today. It's nice and comfortably cool out this morning. Probably in the low 60s. Alright, so let's see how this goes. I'm gonna keep working my way up this and keep you updated as I go up these hills. So it looks like this hike's gonna be in coastal sage scrub pretty much the entire time. So already coming across the rare Adolphia californica, California spine shrub, or California Adolphia already. I'm hoping this October to finally come across a very rare local endemic near the Encinitas area called Orcutt's golden bush. So we'll see how that works. Or it's already Orcutti. Okay, so it looks like people block off this. I'm gonna follow the switchbacks, hoping the switchbacks will lead me up to the peak. So this October, I know I'm bouncing back and forth, hoping that in October I can finally get that plant in bloom. Never seen the plant before, and I'm going to be looking for it at the Manchester Preserve over in Encinitas. Hopefully come October or so, be able to catch that plant in bloom because it's a fall bloomer. We'll see how that goes. So we're going this way into a little dip here. Yeah, it looks like trail workers cordon off that cutoff. I'm pretty sure. If you look on Google Earth, look at the imagery of this area, you can see how there are a bunch of switchbacks, and there are trails cut all around this promontory here, and they all zigzag and wiggle their way up and down the hill. Some of them more directly than others, and there are a bunch of, there's a big straight, almost straight line going up the mountain. So it's kind of interesting how that works out. I'm probably going to just not cut them, do the cutoffs, and just follow the switchbacks. And A, it'll give me a little more mileage, a little more calorie burn. B, hopefully it'll help the other parts that were cut off by the big trail regrow. So I'm just going to stick to the script and work my way up this. Like there's a big water tower up there. Should be interesting. So, it's not very steep so far. It's pretty mellow. It's just a lot of rocks, so if you're starting early and it's still kind of dark, just watch your step, that's all. It's gonna be way up there somewhere. At the summit area is where a bunch of trails are gonna meet. I think on this side here, somewhere over that way, is Copper Canyon Falls. I don't even know if there'd be any water running this time of year, especially after only having half of our yearly rainfall. So I wouldn't be surprised if it were dry, but as a possible post-peak side trip, if I can find a way to navigate down that way. What we got here? Little buddy. Yeah. So yeah, this trail these switchbacks. Make this very gentle. Because actually, I'm going through a relatively flat section here. It gets flat and then it goes uphill and even downhill for short spurts. So, kind of interesting. I've been wanting to hit this area up for a while. I left my house just after 4:45 this morning. I said I want to get an early start. A, beat rush hour traffic. B, beat the heat. So we'll see. Nice fragrant morning out here, thanks to our California sagebrush plants that are on both sides of the trail. And hopefully soon I can start getting some photographs. So I'm going to go ahead and keep ambling my way up this trail. I don't even know the name of it. There are a bunch of different named trails. Whiptail, deer, or something like that. I don't know which one this one is. Hopefully I can figure it out. All I know is that I took it from Corte Romero, and I'm just following it until I get to the peak. That's it. Alright, enough yapping and more climbing. Oh, before I go, it looks like this is the cutoff right here. I think this was the cutoff I passed earlier on. Yep, got a ways to go. There's a lot of hill up ahead, so Alright, see you on the next update. Got some coast prickly pear here. Ooh, and this one's very, oh, these ones are very fiercely spiny. Puntia littoralis. I saw some rounded cross section, long spine, so I assume this is Puntia littoralis. Got a nice patch of it here. You see it's starting to get fruit on it. Don't want to get too close. I think there's a bird in there. I don't want to disturb the birds too much, but it's starting to get some prickly pears on it. Yep. Yeah, this is so far. I'm not really gaining elevation over here. It's basically nearly level. I'm sure it'll pick up at some point as I'm trying to aim towards the summit. I'm sure this will pick up at some point. Looks like we've got a lot of game trails cutting through here too. Probably animal tracks, probably deer. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful hillsides underneath Denk Mountain here. Alright, let's see what else comes up during this adventure. Oh, first of all, looks like we got another cutoff here. It says trail. I think this is just a switchback. I think it goes around over there. I'm just going to go follow this. Seeing some signage over here. I don't know where this comes out. Switchback trail to Junipero Road. That's what that is. I don't know where that comes out. I wonder if that would be the way to get to Copper Canyon Falls. Alright. Okay, here's another cutoff right here. This is called the Switchbacks Trail. Okay, so this goes to another trailhead. Cito Salvia. And that's the Switchbacks Trail is going up this way. Okay. Alright, well, I'm guessing this is what's going to get me towards Denk Mountain. Alright, well. Let's see how this goes. Here's another use trail going this way. Okay. Alright, I'll see you up the way. Alright, so I'm just taking these switchbacks up the hill, very gently gaining elevation. Very gently. Finally starting to get some elevation gain right now. Some of the coastal sage scrub leading up to here has been pretty luscious. Little buddies. Yeah, there are some spots where the sage scrub was pretty tall. But see, we're on another flat stretch right here. Right before starting this clip, it was actually going uphill a little bit. Views are starting to open up. Has been very gradually ascend Denk Mountain. It's a very peaceful walk this morning. Very peaceful. Of course, I am sweating. I always sweat, but so far this is a pretty easy hike. Pretty easy hike. Very gradual. On the way back down, the switchbacks will probably feel tedious. That's the thing about switchbacks. They might feel like a blessing and a curse to some people. Some people will consider them to be too tedious and annoying. Now, when you're going uphill, they ease the gradient and generally make it easier to ascend. But then people on the way back might think, oh, it's just taking forever to get back down the mountain. So, I'm totally fine with it. It does make the ascent much more gradual. Kind of reminds me of a very different trail, the Cedar Springs Trail in San Bernardino National Forest. When you climb out of the bottom of the canyon and start going up towards the PCT. And that's in the San Jacinto Range in Riverside County. Kind of reminds me of that. Very gradual, very few steep sections. Very gradual ascent. Only that's through Montane chaparral. This is coastal sage grouse. And a much lower elevation, of course. But we are climbing. I'm glad we're starting to gain some elevation now. Some pretty rocks coming up ahead. I'll meet you over there. There we go. That's a pretty nice, pretty cool looking jumble of rocks. I think we're going to go even closer to them, I think. Okay, well, here's a trail junction. I'm going to go head the uphill way, the more uphill way. There we go. There we go, right up next to it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool looking. I wonder if that way was just this was just a cutoff. I'm gonna get some pictures of these. It's pretty neat. Alright, so I'm going to continue going this way. It almost looked like there was a faint arrow pointed here. I don't know what that's all about. This way seems to keep going uphill. And that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, some pretty cool rocks. Pretty cool little section here. I wouldn't go scrambling them because I think we're supposed to pretty much stay on trail here. And at the summit of Denk Mountain is near where a lot of these trails intersect. So to get to the high point, you shouldn't have to leave the trail anyways. The summit should be right on this wide plateau where a bunch of trails meet, and I think there are even some shade ramadas up there or something. I know there's a bunch of structures up there. I think they're probably just benches and stuff like that. All right, well, time to keep on climbing, and I'll see you on the next update. So I'm rounding my next switchback. Come up to some still pretty leafy black sage. Salvia mellifera. Still pretty leafy up here. And there's a chaparral bush mallow in here too. Little small summer leaves. So there's Malacothamnus fasciculatus, variety fasciculatus. And came across my first toyon of the day. Yes, this even grows in coastal sage scrub. And it's blooming right now. Very nice to see. On these very gradual switchbacks. And of course, there's a lot of this along the way too. Just haven't pointed it out yet. Laurel sumac, of course. We're starting to go from blooming, which is that white stuff there, panicles of white flowers, and now starting to transition to forming these little drupes, these little fruits, which are small stone fruits called drupes. Yep. And more awesomeness along the way up the slopes of Denk Mountain. And I will see you on my next clip. Alright, next junction. So this here is the Mule Deer Trail. This one goes down towards Sitio Salvia this way. Switchback Trail continues straight at this junction. So there are quite a few markers. So yeah, I'm going to continue going up this way. At least there's some markers here. If there weren't, I would just follow the logical course of continuing uphill as much as possible. A lot of times that'll get you where you want to go. But I'm glad to see markers on the trail here. Alright. I'm going to continue climbing, and we'll see you at the next updates. I don't know if you remember me mentioning earlier, about a water tank way up the hill from where I was. Well, there it is. That white structure is surrounded by a bunch of eucalyptus trees. Right over there. So I'm actually above it now. Now there has been some climbing, obviously, but it doesn't feel like much climbing's happened, because there are a lot of level stretches on this very well engineered trail. Gotta be honest with you, the engineering on this trail is immaculate. You climb, it's just gonna basically pad your distance, your distance traveled, as opposed to your elevation gain. So you'll be traveling longer distances, but it's over such marvelously engineered switchbacks that it doesn't feel like you're gaining a lot of elevation. And I'm a good few hundred feet up, so you can see down there at the base of the hill. I have to admit, this has been a pretty nice ascent. Also, we're getting pretty close to the water tank, actually. I don't know if we're going to get this close to it. Yeah, a bunch of few different species of eucalypt growing along there. Probably sugar gum, red iron bark, and probably river red gum, I would assume. My plan is to continue going up this hill. I think I'm supposed to get this close to the water tank. We'll see what happens. You get a nice view of it from here. I like how these water towers almost always have all these eucalyptus trees surrounding him. So now we're getting a chaparral species popping up now. Looks like we got woolly ceanothus tomentosus. We got a chaparral species picking up here now. Interesting. I think we'd see ceanothus here, but starting to get some popping up. Well, here's a bigger toy on here. Pretty decent sized one, actually. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice, actually. Yeah, this one's been around for quite a while. So, still blooming. But I would assume that pretty soon you're going to start seeing, yep, the beginning of the fruits. Alright, so it looks like as we're going around this side here, I'm starting to see some chamise popping up. I don't know where this goes. So this is supposed to be a 2-mile trail, according to one of the signs I saw. And I'm about 3/4 of the way done. I didn't expect to see chaparral up here, but yeah, there's a bunch of chamise growing over there. I don't know what variant it is because I'm not getting up close to it, but yeah, there's actually some chaparral up here. I didn't expect any chaparral. But yeah, pretty cool. Alright, well, enough yapping. Looks like some old eucalyptus tree snags from back in the day over here too. Alright, well, if I go back the way I came, I might take a side trip over there just to check it out. But until then, keep climbing gradually, enjoying these views, and there's still a bit of coolness in the air, so it's all good right now. Alright. Ooh, sawtooth golden bush. Hazardia squarosa, probably variety grindelioides. I think variety squarosa is not very common. I think that's variety grindelioides. And they're starting to form their flower buds. So, this year I'm trying to find its cousin, Hazardia arcudii, very rare, local endemic to the Encinitas area. So we'll see if I find that this year. Alright, enough yapping, more climbing. I think I see where the summit area is. I think that's it up there. I think I see something up there. Unless it's just a rock. But I think that's where the summit area is. Yeah. I think so. I think it's up there. Alright, well. Yeah, I want to say it's up there somewhere. We'll see. I want to get more closely aligned with that. Alright, well. I'm about to round the next switchback, so obviously I'll keep you posted on how this is going. But this is just a very peaceful. It feels like a slightly more elevated than a stroll. Definitely a little more elevated than a stroll, but it's compared to some of the other hikes I've done, almost has this walk in the park feel to it, and most of it. But I'll keep you posted. I'm about to probably make another switch back here, and we'll see. So, there's the summit area over there. It's not that far away. It looks further on camera than it is in person. So I'm just about getting close to the summit, the general summit plateau region. Now the sun's coming out over the hill. I'm gonna have to be careful with with my camera angle. But yeah, I can see I can see where there's some shade ramada. There are some shade ramadas up there. And it looks like a kiosk or something. Maybe an informational kiosk. So we're just about at the very broad ridge line. We got some benches here. So what's this? So I'm about 2 miles in right now. I'm at the end of, I guess, the end of the switchbacks? Yes. I guess I'm roughly 2 miles in. And I've only seen a couple of these today, but Rus integrifolia, lemonade berry. Very beautiful Rus integrifolia here at the junction. So the drop down trail goes this way. So what goes this way then? Maybe this is just the summit spur, but I guess that's the drop down trail, I guess. But I'm going to be summiting this in the next 5 minutes. Yeah, so far I'd rate this hike definitely the easy category. Probably I'm thinking right now roughly about a 2 out of 10, maybe 2.5, maybe. So definitely well into the easy category. So this is definitely a hike that a beginner would benefit, where a beginner would benefit in his or her goals to get more acclimated to hiking. You can climb a summit and enjoy the beautiful rewards of getting up here. So yeah, I'll be basically meeting you up at the peak very soon. I'm time for a few last photos before hitting the top. Huh. There's a junction with the mule deer trail. So I guess I'm technically on it. Interesting. Keeps going down this way though. Interesting. All right. Viewpoint. Okay. Here we go. Let's look for the high point. Not super common where you find a mountain peak that has a bicycle repair station, bike rack, and a bunch of shade ramadas and benches. All right. Well, yeah. Okay. This is it. Denk Mountain. About 1,045 feet, if I remember correctly, or just above 1,000 feet. And I'm calling it a summit right over here next to this little island of California sagebrush here. Pretty interesting. All right. All right, so we are now at the summit of Denk Mountain. I don't know if this is an official name, but it's very much a recognized. It is very much recognized. Let's kind of look around for a minute. It's gonna be view time pretty soon, but I can see a couple small rock cairns over here. A little scree field up here. That's a pretty cool peak. Yeah, it's gonna be time for me to do some viewfinders. It is kind of hazy, so it might be hard for me to point out some of these things, but let's see what I can find. All right, summit selfie, then viewfinder. Alright, so before we get crowded with people up here, quite a few people hanging around earlier, let's start doing some viewpoints. So I'm going to start by looking, so that's east, so I'm going to start by looking roughly south. So over there, we have Black Mountain over by Rancho Penasquitos, right there. That's Black Mountain. Now I'm going to go swing it to the southeast. Oh boy, I can even see Corte Madera and Los Pinos Mountains. Probably won't see it too well on camera, but it's way off in the haze. I can barely see it myself, but it's way off in the haze there. Then we got Woodson Mountain. That's Woodson Mountain over there in the Poway/Ramona area. And the one next to it is North Iron Mountain. I can't even see Iron Mountain from here, I don't think. No, I can't even see Iron Mountain. Off in the haze, I can kind of see Cuyamaca. This is way out there. We're looking east-southeast. Now we're looking east. And then, let's see if I can do this. Oh boy. I can see it, but I don't think the camera can pick up over there. That's Double Peak in San Marcos. And over this way is Mount Whitney and Frank's Peak. And these are the Cerros de las Posas. I'm not sure if that's Cerro de las Posas or San Marcos Peak there with the radio tower. And that's looking northeast. It's looking north. Swinging it around towards the northwest. Over here to the west, this is towards the Oceanside, Carlsbad, Vista areas. And then southwest, I can see the marine layer trying to make its way in. Oh, whoa. Going back down towards where Black Mountain is. I can actually see Lions Peak and Hamul way down there. And I can see Otay Mountain over there. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, sorry the viewfinder wasn't my most inspired, but the sun is so bright. Okay. There, right there, you can see in the center of the frame that double humped peak there. The one on the left is Mount Whitney, and the one on the right is Frank's Peak over in San Marcos. Always wanted to hit those two as well, but the problem is the access issue. I think there are some access issues, private property. What we got here? Red-tailed hawk. Yeah, I see those a lot. Tarantula hawk wasps. Yep. Calopepla californica. Look at that. State bird, right? California quail. And then laying in a California spine shrub, Adolphia californica. And there's a red diamond rattlesnake. All right. Some good seats up here. I'm just wondering if I should try to do this. So this technically is still the Switchbacks Trail as a post here. So this is the 2 mile mark here. Okay, so I've come up 2 miles. So if I were just to do a simple out and back and not vary the course, this would be a pretty much 4 mile hike. Honestly, I don't even know how much elevation I gained. It didn't feel like I gained a lot. But I looked down below me, and I definitely gained a good few hundred feet to get up here. Okay, what do we got here? The mountains are calling and I must go. Another John Muir quotable. In loving memory of father, husband, son, and brother, friend and outdoor enthusiast, Kevin Lentz. March 26, 1983 to November 23rd, 2019. Ooh, that's rough. Poor guy was only 36 and a half years old. 2019. 1983, born the year after I was born. Oh, rest in peace, buddy. So yeah, it's very hazy. So there are a lot of views that I really have trouble pointing out because of the haze. But on a clear day, the views up here would be pretty darn expansive, and I'm just glad I'm up here. I just appreciate the fact that I'm here on top of another peak. So that's, to me, I think the most important thing is the journey getting up to the peak and being on the peak, and of course the journey back. But it's just the journey, which includes the wildlife and plants, and the peak itself, because I love being on peaks. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and find a place, just sit down for a little bit, and I am going to just kick back for a little while. All right. So I'm still on the summit. Kind of curious. About this. Trying to see if I can extend the adventure just a little bit while there's still some nice weather going on this morning. So yeah, there's the summit area. Took a little stop. I sat on a bench underneath that shade ramada. Had something to snack. Had one of those electrolyte fruit puree squeezers. There's a sign down there, so I'm going to go check that out. So I'm actually on the south side of it now, south side of Denk Mountain, and we're starting to get some chaparral shrubs popping up here too. I would have expected this more on the north side. Yeah, that's chamise, but I think that might be coastal chamise. That might be obtusifolium, but let's see if I can get up close to one. Get down to this trail junction here and see. So I'm getting ready to come up to some of these shrubs. This is the horned lizard trail. Alright, so now I'm going to get to see what kind of chamise we have here. This is kind of intermediate. It's a little blunter. So I think we have, yeah, this looks like the coastal chamise here. This is Adenosema fasciculatum variety obtusifolium. Yeah, the leaves are a little more blunt and a little bit fleshier and shorter. So it looks like we have variant obtusifolium growing here. Yeah, this is definitely characteristic of obtusifolium. Look how short these leaves are. I didn't mean to do that. That was a mistake by accident. They're short, fleshy, and blunt-tipped. They're a little bit less needle-like that you expect on the common variant. So this is the Horned Lizard Trail. I want to see what happens when I take this. It'd just be a shame to not try exploring a little bit more of this pretty area. But we actually got a few chaparral shrubs up here too. Really didn't think that would be happening, but pretty cool. Just a couple of small patches of it here and there. Yeah, it's beautiful out here. Love these. That's why I love getting to these early morning hikes. Beat the heat, get an early start, just enjoy some fun. Alright, well, I'll keep working my way down this and I'll see where I can go from here. Wondering if I should take the Horned Lizard Trail. Looks like it's burnt down there. Or I should continue on the Horned Lizard Trail. I'll continue on the Horned Lizard Trail for now. Yeah, looks like there's a burn area down there. Interesting. Pretty interesting. Yeah. There appears to be some fire damage down there. Okay, well, I'll keep on trudging down this and see where this leads. This is kind of the scouting part of the day. I did the peak climb. Now I'm going to go scout around for some possibilities. Yeah, the fire damage comes right up to here. Well, it's been very recent. And I can see it right here. It's all burnt over here. I mean, I've seen chaparral burn sites, but I don't think I've ever seen burn site in coastal sage scrub before. It happens. Definitely can. But I think coastal sage scrub typically is adapted to fire, but I think chaparral's typically the most prone to and adapted to fire. This is an interesting trail. So this is the Horned Lizard Trail. Be nice to see a horned lizard. Seen one this year. That was on it was near the summit of the mesa over in Dehesa, which is a pretty cool hike. It's a little bit of a butt kicker. Some very steep trail sections there. This is actually the steepest I've seen this hike here. This is going downhill. If I might have to reclimb this on the way back if I don't make a connection this way. But if I can, I'd like to make a loop out of this. Would like to see if I can get down to Copper Canyon, but I don't know. Haven't really planned it out that much, which is kind of on me. This black sage, look at this thing. This thing's tall. Look at this. Salvia mellifera. This thing's a tall one. Pretty neat. This is a pretty side of the hill too. So yeah, I've got more chaparral coming up too. There are actually patches of chaparral up here. Actually kind of surprised. Thought it was supposed to be all coastal sage scrub. But we get the best of both worlds here. So we got more chamise coming up. And more woolly ceanothus here. Ceanothus tomentosus. So coming here in late winter, early spring, February and March. The flowers here must be insane. Just passed by another trail junction there, which wasn't signed. Interesting. All right, well, I'll keep on trudging along and see what other things I can find up here. And here's the next find. Seconds later, after that last picture, Mission Manzanita. Xylococcus bicolor's making an appearance up here too. Okay. I would expect this more on the north-facing slopes. We're kind of at a south-facing slope here. I'm kind of surprised. Interesting, though. Wonder what else I'll find. Sheesh. As I happily stroll down this hill. Alright, so I guess I'm half a mile down the Horned Lizard Trail. Looks like we're going to enter the burn zone now. Okay, let's watch my step here. So yeah, so I'm entering this burn area here. Yeah, I don't know how long ago this happened. Wow. Yeah, you can see the laurel sumac. Yeah. See the laurel sumac resprouts. Pretty interesting. Yeah, see? Laurel sumac resprouting from fire. It's underground root burl or lignotuber. Alright, well, let's see what else interesting things we find. Looks like even the California sagebrush is resprouting too. You can get a little bit of resprouting from the coastal sage scrub bushes too. Alright. Interesting. Alright. Let's see what else we find along this Horned Lizard Trail. Just a short update. It's worming its way down this Horned Lizard Trail. I'm still on the Horned Lizard. Not gonna lie, this is a nice trail too. This one definitely has more of an incline than the Switchbacks Trail. But I'm actually on a mostly downhill actually, but yeah, it's pretty neat. Ooh, a tarantula. Ooh, look at this little guy. I don't know what species we have. Look at that. Oh, look at beautiful, beautiful tarantula. Just standing there still. Pretty handsome. That's a handsome tarantula. I'm not gonna harass him or her. Alright. Away I go. And there's one of those stink beetle types. I think that's a Cutacauda. That's an Eleodes. Nah, that might be a little... A Cutacauda I think is a little narrower than that. Oh well. That was cool. I haven't seen a tarantula in a while. Last time I saw a tarantula was when I was driving through the Sierras in October of 2023. Driving through the southern Sierras. There were gangs of them just on the road. Literally was driving, and luckily there was no other traffic, so I was able to kind of slow down and go around them. But usually I see them in October. That one was just chilling there, kicking back. But all right, more downhill. Away I go. We got a pretty decent sized coyote brush right here. Make sure I'm looking at it. Yeah. Bacteris pilolara subspecies consanguinea. Got a pretty decent size one up here. So yeah, still making my way down. Yeah, this is a good vibe over here. What if we're gonna meet down there with that power line right away? I'm kind of curious. I have a feeling we're gonna meet down there somehow. We'll see. We'll see how that is. Yeah, Denk Mountain, yeah. Nice piece of North County here near Carlsbad. All right. What else am I going to find today? Stay tuned. Finding some more spine shrub, more California Adolphia. It's pretty much leafless because it's drought deciduous. Yeah, I have a feeling this is, I'm not sure. I didn't really study this, but I think this is going to lead down to that right away down there. Should be interesting if it does. I have a feeling I'm either going to have to reclimb this or have to walk on some suburban streets. If I do, oh well. I'm just trying to have my adventure. Nice little overlook right here. Nice views, man. Nice views over here. So yeah, I just want these views, man. Just like these views here at this viewpoint. This is a really cool trail, man. very gradual. It was steeper further up. It was a steeper downhill further up, but that's why I like, when I can, forming loops and sometimes looking at my maps, very confusing looking configurations, because I like to explore a little bit more when I'm doing these hikes. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah, temperature is still very nice right now. Very pleasant. By the time I get home to Santee, where I live, it'll probably be about 95 degrees today. Here, I'm assuming it's probably going to be in the low 80s maybe. Maybe even high 70s. Probably low 80s here. We're a few miles inland. Not really super far inland, but just far enough to where you'll get a little bit of the warmth. Still why I wanted to get an early start on this as well, regardless of how close to the ocean I am. Not gonna lie though, this is a pretty nice hike, and I'm glad I'm out here, and I'm glad I'm sharing it with you guys who like watching me amble around and make these videos as long as they are. But okay, I'm gonna just keep ambling down this, and I'm looking up here. I do think I see some trails going up that way too. Kind of interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna keep on going. Pass by this small, oh, this handsome little laurel sumac right here. Two small trunks. Stuff like this. This is the stuff that puts a smile on my face and in my soul. All right, see you along the way. Okay, we are about to come up to a junction here. Horned Lizard Trail keeps going this way. And this goes to Camino Junipero. Huh. Wonder if I should branch out and do another out and back. So if I go this way, it'll take me to Camino Junipero, which will be close to where my car is, because Corte Romero is right off of Camino Junipero. So I wonder if I should just continue on the Horned Lizard Trail. Maybe if I do an out and back and then come back up here, I can close a loop by going this way. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think I'm going to try that. So I'm going to go ahead and branch off here and stay on the Horned Lizard. Oh, I guess this is a continuation of the Horned Lizard Trail. So there might be an out and back and a loop. So let me see how this works out. And if I decide to come back up here and close out the loop, so I can avoid hiking on sidewalks, maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna go down this way and see. If I have to, I can come back up to that junction and hoof it that way. Because if I can get back to Camino Junipero that way, then I should be able to get to Corte Romero, which is right off of it, pretty easily. All right, well, I'm not really tired beyond my normal 5 days of craziness at work type of tired, which is normal for me. I'm not really hike tired right now. This has been a pretty easy hike, to be honest with you. I'm just looking to get some mileage in. It's still, the weather's still very nice right now, and I still have time. I can just do this and enjoy it. Let's see what I could find down this way. So I guess on the way back I'll probably do an out and back here and then close out the loop over there, unless I find another way down at the base of the hill. So we'll see about that. We'll see how that goes. And I'll obviously keep you posted on what route I take. All right. Now I'm at a junction here. Let's see what this is here. Curious what this is here. Okay, so, all right, I'm joining up with the whiptail loop. Yeah, so you'll see the whiptail loop higher up, just below the summit area. And here it is again. Here's the whiptail loop. So I'm continuing on this trail here. I'm guessing this is still the horned lizard trail. And botanically speaking, and we got our next species of prickly pear. It looks like we got Opuntia auricola, chaparral prickly pear. These more rounded pads, a little bit more upright stature, and more densely covered in long spines. Yeah, we got Opuntia auricola here. So we got at least two types of prickly pears here. And that one right there, that right there is also an Opuntia auricola. So I'm going to see what's down here. There's some more signage coming up, and I'll keep you posted when I get down there, and we'll see what this is all about, and see what other adventures I might be able to tack onto this. Okay, so here we are at the junction with this power line right away. I'm going to poke around and see what is what. Alright. So this is the Denk Mountain habitat map. I'm not sure exactly where I am. So this is where I'm parked. This is Corte Romero, and this is Camino Junipero. I'm assuming I'm somewhere over here. Oh, we're supposed to have wart stem ceanothus here? Huh. All right, I'm going to go over here. Okay, so there is this path here that'll also lead to Camino Junipero over here. If I go this way. So this is the Horned Lizard Trail. Oh, so we are technically in Carlsbad. Okay. We are in Carlsbad. So it's supposed to be Mojave yucca here, huh? I haven't seen any. I think this is probably where everything ends here. Let me see. Let me just poke around really quickly. I think this might be the end of the pathway here. This might all be private property, so let me see. Yeah, so this is private property here. This is all wired up. So, okay. All right. I was just trying to see what's going on over here. Just out of curiosity. Alright, well, I'll just see what's going on. Alright, so, I guess we're going this way. I guess we're going to be making an interesting loop. And I think I probably will have to walk along Camino Junipero for a period of time, which is no big deal. I ain't really tripping. That's from which I came. Well, there's a trail map. This one I think is a little bit better marked. On the other side, it didn't have the markings for it. So, this is how I came up. Right here. I took this one here. That's how I came up, right there. There's the water tank. There's the peak. And this is how I came down. Came down this way. So I guess I'm right here, yeah. So I'm right here. So I'm gonna be hiking along this connector trail here, either to get here or up to here. We'll see. See how that goes. Pretty interesting. All right. I already kind of see how my route lined up already. All right, well, let's keep this going. All right, so as I'm working my way along this, starting to come across more of this fascicle tarweed, Denandra fasciculata. Still blooming here. They're such cheerful plants that grow in the driest, most desolate conditions. They're annuals, so they complete their life cycle in a growing season. They sprout in mid-spring or late spring, flower by summer, and they're in some of the driest areas, and yet they can produce these beautiful flowers. The leaves are already dying back, so the plant is starting its senescing. In other words, its aging process. So all the leaves are already dried up, but it still has some old flower heads. Very, very, very cheerful wildflower. It sprouts up like a so-called weed in all these disturbed areas, but it's very much a native plant. It's very much a native plant, and it's a very cheerful wildflower that should be appreciated and enjoyed. And these people got grapevines. They got a literally whole forest of grapevines on their property. That's pretty cool. That is really cool. There's that handsome laurel sumac right there. I'm just enjoying this. This is right here. This is an easy walk here. A few little ups, a few little downs, level stretches. This is a beautiful hike. I have so much enjoyed this. All right. See you up the way. There's some more updates on this loop. Yes, I'm making a loop today. All right, so I'm looking back. And it's up by where the summit area is up there. Up there I can see the shade ramadas up there. That's where I was a little while ago. Cool. I really enjoyed this one. Denk Mountain. I knew I was gonna get a kick out of it, but as usual, and I say this so many times, I always enjoy these things more than I anticipate I will. And I always anticipate having a fantastic time. And yet, the actual event, the actual hike, ends up being even better than the fantastic I expected. It's like that gully system right there. That's pretty cool. I like the shadows and the little gully system right there. That'd be cool if these trails went through the right through the gullies. That's all right. I'm just enjoying the vibe right now. I'm actually not really looking forward to being on the road. Only because to me this is coming to an end. So I'm just gonna take my sweet time and I'm just gonna stroll this like a walk in the park. Alright, see you on the next clip. Oh, look at this handsome toyon and laurel sumac combo here. That's a laurel sumac right here. And a very stately, handsome toyon right here. An absolutely stunning toyon. Starting to fade out of flower. Starting to get ready to go into seed with those red pomes. Okay, now I can see some more of the trail system here. I think this leads to a connector. Oh, this is the Switchbacks Trail. This is where it starts. Okay, so maybe start it up a little bit further along than before. So maybe it was less than 2 miles to get to the top. I'm just gonna check this out for a minute. I want to go down to this little swale here because it's very lushly vegetated. I just want to check this out. Oh yeah, there's a pretty decent sized toyon down there too, so yeah, I kind of need to check this out. Oh, my first spiny red berry of the day. It's the first one I've seen. Right there in the center, backed up by that huge laurel sumac right there. That's a spiny red berry. That's the first one I've seen today. It's actually looks like old asphalt here. So we're gonna go down into this little dip here. Oh wow, yeah. This is pretty cool. Oh yeah. Stuff's getting a little taller in here, huh? Look at that. Handsome laurel sumac. Yeah, there's a pretty big toyon down here. So sometimes being in these little canyon dips, it's a lot of fun. And we got southern honeysuckle here too. Yeah, look at that. Lonicera subspicata variety denudata. Starting to develop its fruit. Oh yeah, this is a very nice little spot here. Yeah, I've seen much bigger toyons than this, but this is a very stately one too. This one's still pretty high in bloom right now. Very beautiful toyon, and I love these honeysuckles just draping all over this too. This is very beautiful here. And a lot of these little coyote brush saplings. These are pretty easy to grow, coyote brush. Coyote brush is a pretty easy to grow shrub. Very quickly growing too. Now we're going through some non-native fennel here. Phoeniculum vulgare. Yeah, some more very thick coyote brush. Okay, so I think this is the connector. And what do we got coming up here? There's something different over here. Oh, I think I know what we got. First off, though, some more Adolphia californica. And, yeah, some non-native prostrate wattle, Acacia rhodolens from Australia. These are cool looking shrubs, though. Not gonna lie. Okay, so what's going on over here? Let's see. I can tell I'm almost by the road. I'm not looking forward to getting back on the road, only because it means my hike is just about over. I don't like that. I've been enjoying this too much. This has been a fantastic morning out here. I beat the heat, climbed a peak, got to see some beautiful native vegetation. Really had a blast doing this hike. It's technically not over because I have to walk up Camino Junipero. Otherwise I would have come this way, but I decided to do a cut through this little dip here just to check out the luscious vegetation. It's rocky. Here's some more spiny redberry. Some more Rhamnus crocea right here. Oh. Kind of glad I took the detour. Some more acacia redolens. Whoa! That was a California quail. That was a California quail. Right there. Calopepla californica. Startled me more than I startled it. Yeah, Calopepla californica. Sweet. I guess this wasn't a trail. I thought this was a trail. I thought this was. Alright. I thought it was a trail. Alright. I'll just go ahead and cut through to here, I guess. Dang! Okay. I thought that was a trail. I thought it was a connector, but it just dead end. It just went to the drainage gully. Alright, well. Pretty cool. So this is Camino Junipero. I'm going to come out here. It's just walking up this back to Puerto Romero. Here's a little native flavor here. Here's a Torrey pine, Pinus torreana, subspecies torreana. Yeah. What a handsome tree. What a beauty. I just caught the whiff of it too. What a gorgeous, gorgeous tree. And like I saw on the trailhead this morning, there are a bunch of white alders over here. Almost ramifolia. It's a street tree over here. This is native to our mountain, foothills and mountains. Look at that. Wow. What a beautiful white alder. Gorgeous bark. It's the only Southern California member of the birch family. All right. I'm going to go ahead and power down, and I'll see you on the next clip. Across the road. I'm going to take a short walk down this. It's not signed. So let's take a walk down here and see. I'm just going to check this out for a short while. See what I can find here too. It's a little canyon, a little tiny canyon. Pretty cool. Alright, I think I'm going to have to switch batteries. Alright, so I'm going down to this really small gulch. Just very curious what's going on down here. It's actually pretty nice looking. Ooh, look at this. Look at this laurel sumac. Ooh, there's a nice hefty one here. And we got some non-native carrotwood thickets. It's an Australian native tree. Cupaniopsis anacardioides. Yeah, a bunch of carrotwood thickets here too. Wow. This is interesting. Yeah, a lot of carrotwoods. Yeah, these things do get established here. They germinate very readily. Yeah, this is a huge laurel. The trunks in here are massive. Yeah, it's hard to see on camera, but the trunks are huge on this laurel sumac. Trunks are huge. Maybe I get a better look at it down here. Let's see. So here I am back by this laurel sumac. Wow, this thing is massive. This thing used to be probably almost twice as tall. I can see it's all broken up there. This thing was probably about 25, maybe 30 feet tall. This is a huge laurel sumac. This thing is massive. Wow. And we got some California sycamores up here. Wow. Yeah, this is pretty cool down here too. Yeah. These are some big laurel sumacs. These are big. These are huge. Cool little canyon this is. Pretty interesting. All right. Keep on working my way down this. See what else we find. Look at this. Mule fat. Baccharis salicifolia, subspecies salicifolia. Yeah, this is pretty neat. Must be some kind of weird trail here. This is kind of neat. Conserve water, do not drink. Recycled water, that's all that is. Look at this laurel sumac. Oh, this thing's a tree. Oh, wow, look at this. Yo. This is a massive laurel sumac. This thing is huge. Look at the base on this thing. This is crazy. This is nuts. Look at that. Wow, this thing is gorgeous. Maybe get some pictures of this one. And right next door, Melaleuca nesophila. There's not really much of a smell, but beautiful. Melaleuca nesophila. Very handsome, Aussie native. And we got 2 species of willows down here. No, 3 species of willows. Let's correct myself there. First of all, we got Salix exigua variety Heinziana. This is sandbar willow right here. Salix exigua variety Heinziana. small shrubbier willow. Then we get the more tree-like, the more tree-sized Gooding's black willow, Salix goodingi, and the arroyo willow, Salix lasiolipus. Wow. Okay. Well, this is quite the interesting little side trip I'm making here. I'm wondering if this is going to go up to Rancho La Costa. If it does, then this will be good. Alright, let's see what else I find here. Alright, well, first of all, there's a tall Gooding's willow. Right next to it is a Fremont cottonwood. And a Coast live oak. Bunch of arroyo willows mixing in here. Dang. Thought I saw a white alder in there too, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. Nah, I thought there was a white alder in there. Even this little side trip is pretty interesting. There's another sandbar willow right there. Yeah, that's pretty cool looking. Yeah, I think this goes up to Rancho La Costa. I'm gonna use intuition on this. We'll see. So I'm climbing up this right of way here. This is the steepest hiking of the day. Keep seeing quail. Here we go. There we go. More California quail. Here's a sidewalk. I think this is Rancho Santa Fe. Pretty sure this is. We've got some chamise over here. Cool. Some more coastal chamise. Again, this is Adenostoma fasciculata variety obtusifolium. Cool. Now we're going to walk in this tunnel of beautiful Torrey pines. Well, it should be a sidewalk hike the rest of the way back. All right, so I'm coming up on Camino Junipero. That's the next traffic signal up ahead. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Rancho Santa Fe. So I'm just about to close out this really interesting loop that I made. Didn't expect to go through a small canyon. Didn't expect I was going to do that, but adventure kept pressing me. And I'm glad I did. Yeah. So I should be back at the car in a few minutes. So I just got to go there, turn right, walk down a short distance, and then connect with Corte Romero. to wrap up this interesting loop up there at Denk Mountain. That's where I was. All right. Well, Coast Live Oaks too. Very handsome. These big agaves too. They're pretty big. Alright, so I am on Camino Junipero. Ooh, the size of the trunk of this. Very nicely sized oak. Another Coast Live oak, of course. Yeah, that last picture, the agave, massive inflorescence. Oh yeah. Just a little movement in the air, and it feels good right now. I'm a bit sweaty. That climbing out of that canyon was a little sweaty. It was a short climb. I'd still say today was a relatively easy hike. The general hike to Denk Mountain, I would rate, if going up the Switchbacks Trail, I would rate that maybe about a 2 out of 10 for difficulty. Easy category. With the detours I took, I would bring it up to a 3. Once you get towards 3.5 and 4, that's where it turns more moderate. But I would rate it a 3. Still in the upper easy category. And it was very much a worthy effort today. I really enjoyed this. And now I get to see some white alders, some native white alders, and some beautiful non-native Peruvian pepper trees. This little handsome little colonnade, hiking back to my car on Corte Romero, which is just a short distance down the way. So again, the switchback trail would give just that and out and back would be a 2 out of 10. Easy, in my opinion. The looping around the Horned Lizard to the road to Camino Junipero, a little bit further up that way, would be a 2.5 out of 10. A little extra distance. And the loop I made going through that small canyon down there and coming back up this way would make it a 3. So upper easy. I'm approaching the end of this one. Here's these beautiful white alders. They usually look a lot more upright, taller, and lusher in the mountains, but I've always loved alder trees, especially our white alders. They have a very woodsy aroma that's kind of similar to sycamore, a woodsy, soft woodsy aroma that's really pleasant. I've always loved our white alders. I love seeing them planted. I love seeing them wild up in our mountains too. Almus rhombifolia. Southern California's only native member of the birch family, the Betulaceae. So I'm back on Corte Romero. My car's just parked a little bit up that way. Alright, well, fortunately this is the end of a really fine hike. The extended version of Denk Mountain. Up and down Denk Mountain, 2 different trails, looping around and down through a small swale, back up to here. Well, this is going to be the end of this one for me. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me to Denk Mountain here in Carlsbad. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.